Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down chapter 51, Roronoa Zoro Falls to the Sea.
And he falls hard. This is one of those chapters where the entire scale of the world just cracks wide open.
It is the absolute definition of a wake-up call. We see Zoro, our unstoppable swordsman, turn to face a man who is about to cut him down, and he just smiles. He accepts it.
He tells him a scar on the back is a swordsman's shame.
It's just a perfect character moment. If you want to understand who Zoro is, this is it. And if you want to understand why we break this series down chapter by chapter, it's for moments exactly like this. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single step on the road to the Grand Line with us.
Let's begin. The duel has been accepted.
Right, so everyone's watching. The Krieg pirates, the Bharati cooks, our guys. The stage is set. Zoro draws his swords, ready for the fight of his life. He is staring down the world's greatest swordsman, Dracule Mihawk.
And there's this palpable tension in the air. You can almost feel it in Oda's art. Every character is a spectator, and they all represent a different perspective. You have the cooks, who are just terrified, the Krieg pirates, who are in disbelief that someone would challenge the man who just annihilated them, and then you have Luffy's crew, who have nothing but faith in their swordsman.
And that faith is about to be tested in the most brutal way imaginable, because Mihawk looks at him, this incredibly ambitious young man from the weakest sea, and pulls out a tiny pendant from around his neck. It's a little knife, no bigger than his palm.
This tiny knife, it's essentially a dinner knife, and the symbolism is just devastating. He's not even treating this as a duel. He's treating it as pest control.
The disrespect is off the charts. He literally says he's not a fool who would use a cannon to hunt a rabbit. He even regrets not having an even smaller knife. He's not just saying you're weaker than me. He's saying you are not even remotely in the same category of existence as me. It's an act of profound humiliation before a single move is made.
And that line, the East Blue is the weakest of the four seas, that's not just an insult to Zoro. That's a piece of world building dropped like a boulder. It recontextualizes everything we've seen. We've been led to believe that men like Captain Crew or Don Creed are the pinnacle of strength in this part of the world.
Exactly. Arlong, Krieg, Buggy, they're the top dogs here. But out there, they're nothing. They're rabbits. Oda is telling us right here that the world is so much bigger and more dangerous than we can even comprehend at this point. Think about it. Even Morgan, with his axe end, was a marine captain who terrified an entire island, and that's the level of power we're used to. This is something else entirely.
It really makes you reconsider some of the other powerful figures we've seen in the East Blue. Here you have this weakest sea, yet we know there are high-ranking Marines who operate here. It hints that there are layers to the world's power structures that we haven't even begun to scratch. But for now, from Mihawk's perspective, this is the frontier, the backwater.
It also explains why a man like Mihawk is even here. He mentions he was just killing time. For him, sinking an entire pirate fleet is a way to stave off boredom. That's a level of power that's almost unimaginable. It's like a force of nature, not a person.
It's the casualness of it that's so terrifying. Don Krieg mustered the full might of his armada to conquer the Grand Line, and he was sent fleeing by a single man who was simply bored. It's a complete paradigm shift.
And Zoro, of course, just gets furious. He tells Mihawk to not regret it when he dies, which is such a Zoro thing to say. He's been underestimated his whole life, and he's always proven people wrong. This is his comfort zone in a way. He thinks this is just another arrogant opponent who he's about to shock.
He has no frame of reference for this level of power. His entire life has been a linear progression of strength. He trains, he gets stronger, he beats the next opponent. He has never encountered a wall he couldn't eventually scale. He believes with absolute conviction that his will and his training are enough.
But this time is different. As Zoro charges, Mihawk compares him to a frog in a well, and he says he's time he sees the real world. That frog in a well analogy is so perfect. Zoro's well is the East Blue. He's the strongest frog in it, but he has no concept of the vast ocean that lies beyond the walls of the well.
It's a paternalistic, almost pitying line. Mihawk sees the ambition and the spirit, but he also sees the naivety. He's about to deliver the cruelest lesson of Zoro's life.
And then it happens. Zoro unleashes Oni Giri. This is his signature move. We've seen it cut through grown men, steel, everything. It's his ace. We saw him take down Kabaji with it, the Nyaban brothers. It's always been the finisher, the big, dramatic, it's over attack.
And Mihawk stops all three swords with the very tip of that tiny pocket knife.
The visual of it. 3 blades of killing intent. This whirlwind of an attack just stopped dead by a single point of contact. The sound must have been just a single sharp ting. Silence. Oda draws it so perfectly. You see the power lines, the speed, the force of Zoro's muscles tensed, and then just this quiet, effortless point of contact.
The physics of the scene don't make sense, and that's the point. It's not a feat of strength, it's a demonstration of a different dimension of skill. It's like watching someone stop a cannonball with a fingertip. It defies the established rules of the world.
You can feel the shock ripple through everyone. Luffy is stunned. His jaw is on the floor. Johnny and Yosaku are screaming that it's impossible. And you feel it with them. It should be impossible.
Because it should be. Zoro himself is thinking that no one has ever stopped that technique before. And this guy did it with a toy. It's not just that he lost the exchange, the very physics of his world just broke. His understanding of strength, power, and swordsmanship has been invalidated in a single instant.
This is where his composure shatters. He just starts swinging wildly, this frenzy of attacks. He's thinking about all the training, all the work he's put in, all the mornings spent lifting weights, all the nights spent honing his form. He's regressing. He's no longer a disciplined swordsman. He's just a desperate kid flailing against a god.
You can almost feel his mind flashing back to his childhood, to his training. It's his entire life's work being rendered meaningless. He's not fighting Mihawk anymore. He's fighting the realization that everything he's ever done might not be enough.
He's thinking, how can the world be this far away? It's the sheer despair of realizing the mountain you thought you were climbing was just a footstool for the real one. It's a crisis of faith in himself.
And as he's desperately fighting, remembering his promise to Kuina, Mihawk just calmly sidesteps everything. He's not even trying. He's completely still, only moving his wrist and feet slightly, parrying these furious blows with that tiny knife. He's a dancing master, and Zoro is a clumsy child.
He even asks him what burden he carries. Why do you seek the ultimate power, weakling? That just sets Johnny and Yosaku off. They can't stand to see their Aniki get humiliated like this. They see it as an insult, which it is, but it's also a genuine question from Mihawk. He senses the drive, but he can't comprehend its source in someone so far beneath him.
They draw their swords to jump in, to help him. They're bounty hunters. They think in terms of winning the fight. They see their leader in trouble, and their instinct is to dogpile the enemy.
And Luffy just puts a hand out and stops them. Cold. No goofy smile, no shouting, just a quiet, firm, don't.
That's a captain. That is a real captain's decision right there. He understands. This isn't a team fight. This isn't about survival. This is about Zoro's dream. Interfering would be a greater insult than anything Mihawk could ever do. It would be telling Zoro, I don't believe you can handle this on your own. Your dream isn't something you can protect on your own.
It's an incredible display of respect for his crewmate's ambition. Luffy knows that for Zoro, losing this fight on his own terms is more important than being saved. He's protecting Zoro's honor, not his life. And for Zoro, at this moment, those are the same thing. This is one of the first times we see Luffy the captain emerge in such a serious, profound way.
He understands the weight of a life's ambition because he has one just as grand. He would never want someone to interfere in his fight for the title of Pirate King, and he extends that same courtesy to his first mate.
So Zoro gets back on his feet. He's battered, he's mentally broken, but he's not done. He sets up for another move, Toragari, and this time it's not Kuina he's thinking about.
He's remembering his promise to Luffy.
He remembered telling Luffy he was going to be the world's greatest swordsman, and Luffy's reaction was just, great, the Pirate King should have the best on his crew. No doubt, just total faith. That's what he's fighting for now. It's not just his past promise to Kuina, it's his future promise to his captain. His dream is now integrated into the larger dream of the Straw Hat crew.
It's a critical shift. His dream is no longer a solitary pursuit. It has been integrated into the larger dream of the Straw Hat crew. He is fighting for his role, for his place at Luffy's side.
And before the attack can even land, Mihawk moves. He stabs Zoro directly through the chest with the little knife.
It's brutal. Just a quick, precise thrust right next to the heart. And everyone expects him to fall. The momentum of the fight, the power difference, the narrative itself all say he should collapse right here.
But he doesn't. He just stands there, with a knife buried in his chest. He grits his teeth, blood dripping from his mouth, and he does not move an inch.
Mihawk is the one who seems surprised, truly surprised for the first time in the entire fight. He asks him, "Why don't you step back?" From his perspective, the fight is over. There's no reason not to retreat and save your life. It's the logical, sensible thing to do.
And Zoro's answer? He says he doesn't really know why. But if he took even a single step back now, it would be like all his promises, all his vows, everything that brought him to this moment would shatter. He could never get back to where he is now. It's such a pure distillation of his character. He's not thinking about tactics or survival. He's thinking about his soul.
Mihawk tells him that is what's called defeat, which is a cold, hard truth. He's trying to explain the reality of the situation to this stubborn young man. You've lost. Concede it.
But Zoro just looks him in the eye and says that's even more reason not to. Mihawk asks if he'd rather die, and Zoro says death would be better. And he means it. Absolutely 100% means it.
And that is the moment everything changes. The entire tone of the fight shifts right there. Mihawk has seen strong swordsmen. He's seen powerful techniques. But this is something else. This isn't about skill or power levels anymore.
This is willpower on a level that physical strength can't even touch. Mihawk pulls the knife out, looks at this kid bleeding out in front of him, and his expression is one of pure, unadulterated respect. The condescension is gone. The boredom is gone. He is seeing something truly rare.
He asks for his name, not as an insult, but as a genuine request for information. He needs to know the name of the man with this kind of spirit.
Roronoa Zoro. And Mihawk says he will remember it. He says it's been a long time since he's seen someone with that kind of conviction. Think about that. This is a man who has sailed the Grand Line, who stands at the pinnacle of the world, and he's saying that what Zoro has is rare.
Then, as a gesture of respect to a fellow swordsman, he says he will use the world's strongest sword to end it.
And he draws Yoru, that massive black blade, the crucifix hilt, the sheer presence of it. The art gives us this full page spread of it. It feels like an event. And Zoro earned that. He lost the fight, but he won the war for his own honor. He made the world's greatest swordsman take him seriously. That is a victory in itself.
It absolutely is. He's not just a rabbit anymore. He's a swordsman worthy of being struck down by Yoru. Mihawk is paying him the highest compliment a swordsman can, a death worthy of his conviction.
So Zoro gathers everything he has left, all his strength, all his will, into one final attack. The 3-sword-style secret technique, Sanzen Sekai, 3,000 worlds.
It's the ultimate expression of his style. The name itself is grand, almost cosmic. It speaks to the scale of his ambition. And Mihawk just walks toward him, Yoru held ready. There's no flash, no theatrics, just 2 swordsmen at the moment of truth.
The clash is immediate, and it's over in an instant. We don't even really see the attack. We just see the result. 2 of Zoro's swords are shattered into pieces, just gone. His two regular katanas are destroyed, which almost feels like it represents the end of his time as a mere bounty hunter.
And the only one left is the white one, the Wado Ichimonji.
Kuina's sword, the one that carries the weight of their shared dream. Of course, that's the one that survives. It's not just a sword, it's a promise. It's a meito, a famous blade. But more than that, it's the physical manifestation of his entire reason for living. For it to break here would be for his dream to die. It's like, visually, the promise endures.
Zoro concedes defeat. He muses that he never even considered the possibility of losing. He understands now. And then he does the most unbelievable thing yet.
He sheathes his last sword, turns around to face Mihawk, and spreads his arms wide open.
It's a moment of complete surrender, and yet it's the ultimate act of defiance. Mihawk is confused. He asks what he's doing. He just offered him an honorable death in combat, and now Zoro is just standing there, wide open.
And Zoro just says it. Scars on the back are a swordsman's shame.
It's just perfect. There's no other word for it. It's the Bushido code distilled into a single, breathtaking moment of defiance and defeat. He will not be struck down while retreating. He will accept his death face to face as an equal, even in absolute defeat.
He'd rather die facing his enemy than live with the shame of being cut down while running away. Mihawk gets it. He understands the profound statement being made. He's pleased with Zoro's brave gesture, and then he delivers the final blow.
A massive diagonal slash across Zoro's entire chest. It's not a killing blow, though it should be. It feels almost like a branding, a mark of their duel.
A wound he will carry for the rest of his life, a permanent reminder of this day, of this promise. As he's falling into the sea, bleeding out, Mihawk has one last thought.
He tells him it's too soon for him to die. Find himself, see the world, and become stronger. He says he will wait for him at the top. This isn't an enemy speaking. This is a mentor, a rival.
Surpass this sword. Surpass me, Roronoa Zoro. He's not just an opponent anymore. He's a goal. He's the final boss, and he just told the hero to go level up and come back for a rematch. Super.
This is Mihawk making an investment. He's lonely at the top, and he just found someone with the potential to one day give him a real fight. He's cultivating his own challenger.
It's incredible. He's essentially anointing Zoro as his future rival. He sees the potential, and now he wants to see it realized. He leaves Zoro with a purpose, a scar, and a monumental goal.
What a chapter. The sheer density of character-defining moments is just off the charts. We learned more about Zoro's soul in these pages than in all the chapters leading up to it combined.
We also learned that the Grand Line is no joke. The power ceiling is so much higher than we ever imagined. This single encounter raises the stakes for the entire series permanently.
Yeah, this isn't a game anymore. This is the big leagues, and our crew just got a brutal taste of it. Zoro's defeat is a defeat for the entire crew. It's a sign that just having big dreams isn't enough. They are not ready. Not yet.
And there was one other little detail. The chapter also checks in on Buggy, who was just saved from that giant crab by a mysterious woman. I have a feeling we know her.
Oh yeah, the club. Mace? That silhouette looks an awful lot like Alvida. Guess she found that devil fruit she was looking for after all.
The smooth fruit, perhaps? It would fit. A clever reintroduction of a previous antagonist, now powered up.
Absolutely. Okay, so much to think about for what comes next. If you've got your own theories about how the crew is going to handle this, drop them in the comments. It's always cool to see what everyone's thinking after a chapter that just rewrites the rules.
I'm very interested to see those. All right, Franky. Predictions for Chapter 52. What do you have? Okay, Prediction 1, Sanji. We haven't seen his reaction yet. He's going to see Zoro get pulled out of the water, bleeding out with a wound that should have killed him, and he is going to lose his mind. The fight against the Krieg pirates is about to get way more brutal.
I could see that. He has a protective streak, even if he'd never admit it for Zoro.
Prediction 2, Luffy's mood is going to shift. He's not going to be sad or angry in a loud way. I think he's going to get very quiet, very serious. He just saw his right-hand man, the guy he needs beside him at the end, get completely dismantled. This is the moment the reality of his dream sets in. He'll have this grim determination about him.
A quiet Luffy is a terrifying Luffy. I like that. What's your third?
Mihawk just leaves. He didn't come here for Krieg. He came here because he was bored. He found something interesting in Zoro, gave him a goal, and now he's done. He's just going to get back on his little coffin boat and sail away, leaving everyone on the Baratie to deal with the fallout. His part in this story for now is over.
That feels very in character for him. Okay, my turn. My first prediction is that we're finally going to get the full story of what happened to Don Krieg's armada in the Grand Line. Mihawk's casual appearance here confirms he was the one who destroyed his entire fleet. I think Krieg is going to have a flashback or a monologue explaining the sheer horror of what he witnessed.
Oh, good one. A first-hand account of Mihawk's power from someone who survived it.
Exactly. Second, Zoro's immediate priority once he wakes up won't be revenge. It will be practical. He needs 2 new swords. He just lost his primary weapons. I predict his next mini-arc will be about finding blades worthy of his new ambition. He can't challenge the world with just 1 sword.
That makes a ton of sense. He can't get stronger without the tools for it.
And for my final prediction, with the immediate threat of Mihawk gone, the focus is going to snap back to Sanji. This whole incident, the attack on his home, seeing a fellow dreamer nearly die, is going to be the catalyst that forces him to finally confront Zeph and make a decision about leaving the Baratie. The emotional climax of this arc is still ahead of us.
Man, you're right. We're not out of the woods yet. This duel was just the appetizer. The main course against Krieg is still coming.
The stakes have just been permanently raised.